peoples. My peoples. Dmitry Bivol versus David Benavidez. It looks like we may actually get that this summer. Oh my goodness. That's an explosive fight that I think we're all looking forward to. Dare I call it a 50-50 fight? Right now, off the top of my head, I can't say. I can't make a prediction right now. I really have to analyze. I have to ponder to come to a conclusion who I think is going to win that fight. But we got to talk about it, man. We have to talk about it. Who do we think is going to win that fight? Who's looking forward to that fight? Let's get it, my peoples. Let's get it. We need to find out, how is this going to play out? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? There's history between Bivol and Benavidez. They've actually sparred each other. There's a story out there that supposedly Bivol dropped Benavidez with a jab in a sparring session. I don't really believe it. I mean, I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but I feel like what most likely took place, Bivol caught him with a nice stiff jab while Benavidez was maybe coming forward. He didn't have really his legs under him. And he felt, if it did happen, I believe that he fell more because he was out of balance when he got caught by that jab, as opposed to he got caught by a jab, got hurt, and got dropped. I don't see that happening. But Bivol versus Benavidez this summer, that's a blockbuster fight. That's an epic showdown. I'm pretty sure every boxing fan, if this fight happens, we're all gonna be looking forward to it. I think we're gonna be split as far as who thinks the Mexican Monster is gonna win this fight, who thinks Bivol is gonna win this fight, because both of these guys can fight, man. Both of these guys let their hands go. This is one of those fights where you're gonna see fireworks from the beginning to the end. See, what makes Bivol interesting is that even when he's using his footwork, he's letting his hands go. And Benavidez, he's always walking his opponents down, letting his hands go. When you put two fighters in the ring who both of them let their hands go in combinations, it's bound to be fireworks. A fight is about to break out. I mean, we saw Bivol versus Beterbiev. They've already shared the ring for 24 rounds, and we've seen how those fights have played out. So what I see is that David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol is going to play out very similar to Beterbiev versus Bivol. It's going to be, 12. If it goes the distance, it's going to be 12 rounds of action. And we're going to see a slugfest. That's all I'm saying. For Pamphili, opinion on Palestine. This is a boxing channel, my brother. This is not about Palestine and anything else related to any politics or anything like that. Cam J Network. Good morning, brother. Benavidez Bivol. It's a classic fight in the making. My brother, good morning. Good to see you, man. That's a fight, man, that, let me ask you right now, be the first, man. Give me your prediction. Tell myself I can't even predict nothing right now. Like, I really, really have to think about it. Those two right there, it's a heck of a showdown. So what's up, Cam J Network? Who you got winning that fight? It looks like they're close to finalizing it, and I think they're going to make it happen simply because Benavidez is about that smoke. Dmitry Bivol, he don't duck no smoke. Bound to happen. It's going to happen. So I feel like there really isn't anything in the way, anything that's going to stop that fight from taking place in the summertime. They're going to fight next. Now, I'm interested in seeing how fans are going to predict this one. because Benavidez, we know what he's bringing to the table. We know he's undefeated. We know the power that he possesses in both hands. And then when it comes to Dmitry Bivol, we know the ring IQ. We know the footwork. We know the sharp hands, the combination punch, and all that good stuff. Like, this is the type of fight, if it goes the distance, I think it'll play out similar to Bivol and Beterbiev, where we're talking about a split decision win. We're talking about a fight that is real, real close. Cito, dímelo, hermano. ¿Qué es lo que es, hermanito mío? ¿Sabe? Activo aquí, metiendo mano con este boxing. Doing what we do, my brother. Cam J Network. True 50-50 fight. I can't make a prediction right now, but I'm leaning Benavidez by decision. A true chess match. I mean, my brother, I gotta agree with you 100%, man. Benavidez versus Dmitry Bivol. That's a 50-50 fight. That is a true 50-50 fight. Christian V, hello. Do you think John Jones is next to losing the heavyweight title? Honestly, my brother, I can't give you a prediction on that, because here in Box Center, we're 100% about boxing. So I love MMA, but we don't really get, we don't entertain, when it comes to MMA. Maybe I'm thinking about doing a podcast that will talk about MMA, but right now, 100% boxing, my brother. But salute Christian V, I appreciate you hopping on here. But again, my peoples, Dmitry Bivol, we saw what happened with Arthur Beterbiev. That's 24 rounds of a slugfest. 24 rounds with Arthur Beterbiev. So we know what Dmitry Bivol brings to the table. And right now, as a matter of fact, I say that Dmitry Bivol has to be top 3 or top 4 in the pound-for-pound list. All for that win. Based on the fact that he became an undisputed champion by beating a guy like Arthur Beterbiev, who never took a loss, who was just basically destroying all of his opponents. Bivol is a pound-for-pound fighter. And he has, a resume to back that up. And we know what David Benavidez brings to the table. We seen what he did to David Morrell. And, let me tell you something. David Morrell is a heck of a fighter. I expect David Morrell to become a champion at some point. I'll put it to you like this. He a heck of a fighter, my peoples. Do not sleep on David Morrell because he took a loss. Don't sleep on him. David Morrell can fight. So Benavidez beat a real Cuban elite level fighter. Cam J Network, hit that like button and support my dog Jay Smith on the grind this morning. Appreciate you, my brother. Y'all already know what it is, man. Monday morning, and we doing what we do. This boxing shit. Let's get it in, my peoples. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the content, all that good stuff. But I want to see predictions, man. I want to see what the people got to say, because I think that David Benavidez and Dmitry Bivol, that's automatically in my mind, the way that fight plays out, Fight of the Year candidate. It's going to be one of those type of fights. If you saw Bivol versus Beterbiev, and we could say that was a Fight of the Year, that could be the Fight of the Year, well, the Mexican Monster versus Bivol is going to be that type of fight too. It's going to be that type of fight. The ebb and flow. They're going to go back and forth. Both of them are going to win rounds. Both of them are going to have moments. I think that the deciding factor could be if Benavidez hurts Bivol. Because we know he's a finisher. We know how Benavidez, if he hurts you, is problems after that. So far, that's what we've seen in David Benavidez's career. If he hurts you, you got problems. 16 Sammy. Turkey don't want that fight. I mean, I'm not in a position to tell you if he wants it or not. But what I can tell you is that David Benavidez does want to get his hand on them titles. And Dmitry Bivol, he's the undisputed champion. He got all of them. So, taking that into account, I think there's a lot of reason to believe that they're going to make that fight happen. I think they are going to make that fight happen. Now, We got to take into consideration, is this going to be, because Bivol's last fight was on the zone, right? With Turkey Al-Sheikh in them. If this fight happens, is it going to happen as a PBC fight, Amazon, or wherever PBC is going to stage it? Or is it going to be on the zone? We have to see. We have to see it. Cam J Network says PBC and Matchroom already negotiating the fight without Turkey. Just came out in a report last night. I seen the report. That's what I'm saying. It looks like they trying to make it happen. Now 16 Sam, you're saying Turkey started TKO boxing. That fight is not going to happen on TKO boxing. Neither fighter is signed to TKO boxing. You got to remember, that's a new promotion. They're going to start bringing in fighters, and I'm pretty sure they're going to have the money to bring some big names. But as of right now, both of those fighters are under contract with someone else. So that fight is definitely not going to happen under TKO fighting. They don't have neither one of those fighters. They don't promote neither one of those fighters. So I think it is going to be something Matchroom and the Zone. Who stages the fight? I don't know. I'm sorry, between Matchroom and PBC. Who stages the fight? Maybe that's part of the negotiations right now. Maybe they might do something simultaneous where, it gets broadcasted on the Zone and on Amazon Prime. That's happened very few times, but it can happen, especially a fight of this magnitude. We're talking about for all the marbles. Yo, this is real big. And it's the type of fight, man, that boxing fans are going to jump on board. People are going to support this fight. People are going to want to watch this fight. We've been wanting to see Benavidez, fight one of the big guys, one of the big names. That's like, okay, let's see what you're going to do. Because, every fighter has haters. And the haters will say, oh, who Benavidez be? He's fighting smaller guys, blah, blah, blah. Yo, Dmitry Bivol is a big dude. Benavidez a big dude. Bivol is a big dude. So there you have it. Broke up over boxing, 860. Salute, top of the morning, my friend. What's the deal, my brother? Appreciate you dropping in. And right away, give me your predictions, man. I don't even want to hear it. Give me your predictions. Bivol, Benavidez. Who you got broken up over boxing 860? Who you got? And 16 Sammy, who you got too, man? If the fight happens, who you got? Bivol, Benavidez. Broke up over boxing 860. Benavidez has fought some of the best. No, he's fought. Yo, I was just saying, David Morrell is serious. Serious. But people feel like Benavidez hasn't fought the big guys, the guys that are physically big like him. So they wanted him to fight Beterbiev. Well, Beterbiev lost. Bivol is a big dude as well. Vic G, Bivol by split decision. I can see that happening. I haven't been able to make my prediction because that's such a tough fight to predict, man. But I can see that happening. I respect that. Broke up over boxing. I love Benavidez style. Yo, what the one thing I like about Benavidez, my peoples, is that there is no such thing as a David Benavidez boring fight. He gonna let them hands go. He gonna come forward, walk you down, and let them hands go in combinations. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 punches at a time. Duke Nukem, do you see a job in your future? I'm not sure what you mean by that. I have a job. I'm a content creator. That's my profession, my brother. But I think I'll be in boxing sooner rather than later. Stay tuned for that. Broke up over boxing 860. A lot of fighters are ducking him. That's a fact. Benavidez is one of the most ducked fighters in boxing. Y'all know Canelo don't want that Benavidez action. He's been ducking Benavidez for the last, 5, 6 years at this point? Garden snake mentality. David Morrell hasn't done enough to be a legit win. I mean, I respect your opinion, my brother, but I believe that David Morrell is a legitimate elite level fighter. Legitimate Cuban style, good defense, good offense, sharp. I'll consider him a legitimate win. And I honestly believe that David Morrell will become a champion. I believe it. Vic C, is this fight a done deal? So right now it's not a done deal. They're talking about it. They're saying that they almost finalized it for the summer. But with boxing, my brother, there's so many moving pieces that we just never know. We've seen fights that are this close to being made, and then everything fall apart. So until that contract is not signed, sealed, and delivered, it's never guaranteed. Garden Snake mentality. Yarde beats Morrell. That's a good matchup. I'd like to see it. You know what? To be honest, if they was to fight, I would bet on Morrell to beat him. But that's a very good fight. Cam J Network. Canelo outpriced himself big time on Benavidez. Talking about $200 million. Of course. That's the best way to avoid a fight. Ask for an amount of money you know it's not happening. But listen, I'm going to tell you, and this is me with all honesty. Johan Sulek, hello from Ukraine. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. Boxing is a worldwide sport, and I love it when people from different parts of the world join in the conversation. Let me tell you something, my peoples, about Canelo Alvarez and David Benavidez, which we know Canelo ducked that fight. I cut Canelo some slack for that one. And the reason I do so is because I feel like Canelo's a very small guy physically. He's like 5'7". A guy like Benavidez, he's so big that I feel like he would just pummel Canelo. I feel like he would just destroy Canelo Alvarez, be the first guy to knock him out and all that. So I think it was a wise decision for Canelo to outprice himself. Garlesian, Benavidez is the real deal. He could also stay middleweight, waiting on Canelo, or fight bums. I mean, to be honest, I think that Benavidez, it was a good move for him to move up. And I say that because you got to consider the fact, you're going to stay there. This is a guy who he's about the glory. He want to win the title. He want to, be recognized as one of the best. You're not going to do that in a division where you don't got nobody. You don't really got anybody to make your name climb up like that. But if you could beat Bivol, then you could fight Beterbiev. If you could beat him too, now we're putting Benavidez as one of the best of this era. If he can beat those two guys, we're already going to be mentioning his name with the best fighters of the era. We're going to be putting his resume up there. Cito, bro, I'm mad shape. Bro in mad shape. Who, Benavidez? Because Benavidez and also Bivol. Cam J Network, Canelo know he can't beat Benavidez. That's why he's continuing to move out of Benavidez' way. I agree with you, my brother. Benavidez is a big dude, bro. And Canelo a small dude physically. I think Benavidez will pummel him. Cito, I don't know about that because look at planned fight with both fighters. I just think Canelo's saving the best for last. I don't know, man. In all honesty, I think Canelo either will not fight Benavidez or they're going to have to give him an astronomical figure. Look, he asking for $200 million. Yo, when Canelo say $200 million, he basically saying, yo, if I'm going to get beat up, you're going to have to give me a crazy purse. It's as simple as that. Because Canelo's never had a $100 million purse. He's never made $100 million for a fight. And he's asking for two? Astronomical. Young Guns. Salute, my brother. Cito, David is Canelo's retirement check. Honestly, I don't think David is Canelo's retirement check necessarily. Canelo already got retirement money right now. He's worth over $100 million. He makes 30 plus million per fight. So I believe Canelo could honestly retire right now. He already got the retirement money. But if you want to make me fight the Mexican monster, if I'm going to get knocked out, if I'm going to get beat up, you're going to have to give me crazy money. You're going to have to give me a crazy check. You're going to have to give me, I heard a comedian say, you'll have to give me fuck you money. That's the type of money Canelo's going to have to get beat up by somebody like that. Cito, no, Edgar the Body Bully Berlanga in good shape for next fight. Edgar Berlanga, you know, he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. You know, just because he lost to Canelo Alvarez, I think, in fact, Canelo Alvarez was like a money grab for Edgar Berlanga. Because even the way he fought, he doesn't normally fight like that. He was being very, very cautious, and it looked at some points that he was just trying to make it the distance rather than just get knocked out. Garden Snake mentality. Rayo left Benavidez Sr. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that, man. I don't know if it's connected to him losing the way that he lost or what. But I don't know. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. Cam J Network. I think Canelo will never fight Benavidez. He showed it over 5 years. That's what I'm saying, you know. It's already been, like I said, 4 or 5 years where Benavidez... In fact, let me tell y'all something to keep in mind. At one point, and Benavidez is out there, you know, he officially said that. They offered Benavidez a flat fee of like $2 million and no pay-per-view money. Meaning Canelo's going to get 100% of the pay-per-view money. And Benavidez signed the contract on his side. Yeah, I'm good. Signed that shit. And he never heard from them after that. You see? So basically, they offered Benavidez a contract hoping that he turned it down. And then they could say, yo, we tried to fight him. He turned it down. And look what happened. Even when he signed the contract, nothing happened. He never heard from them again after that. Garden State mentality. Benavidez can stop anybody. I agree with you. Do you consider Canelo an all-time great? Without a doubt. Canelo is without a doubt an all-time great. He'll go down in history as an all-time great. You know, we can say whatever we want about Canelo and opponents, but when we look at, I think this is the main factor in deciding if somebody's an all-time great or not. Look at the number of champions beaten. Not about discrediting the champion. Oh, this guy was washed. Oh, this guy was this guy was that. We can do that with every all-time great. Like Floyd Mayweather is arguably the greatest fighter of all time, and we can start pointing out opponents that he fought past their prime, past their in their mid or late 30s, or opponents that he fought at this point or at that point, or that were too small moving up to fight him. Look, for example, Juan Manuel Marquez moved up 2 divisions to fight Floyd Mayweather. This guy was little as hell, but when you mention all that big number of champions that Floyd beat, Juan Manuel Marquez is one of those champions, little ass Marquez. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Floyd Mayweather beat a whole bunch of champions. That's what makes him an all-time great. Canelo Alvarez has beaten a lot of champions too. So I believe without a doubt he's going down as an all-time great. That to me, that's not even up for debate. Cito, David got that stand and bang power where if you sit and trade, his punch output will overwhelm you and start to hurt. I agree with you 100%. But remember, Beterbiev has that same thing too. And Bivol was able to trade with him, make him miss and make him pay. He made some adjustments. If you remember, after the first fight, Bivol's face was twisted. After that second fight, he didn't take as much damage. So Dmitry Bivol has the ring IQ, the footwork, the head movement, you know, knows how to block himself slip punches at point blank range. So he can make it very interesting. He can outpoint Benavidez if he's on his game. Broke up over boxing 860. That's bull. I think Canelo is ducking. Canelo is great. I mean, like I said, my brother, I don't think Canelo's ever going to fight Benavidez. I just don't see it. You're 100% right. He's ducking Benavidez, and I just don't see that he's going to happen. Khan Guzelkaya, did you watch Alex Pereira match? So I did watch it, my brother, but I'm not, I'm not going to entertain it. Box Center, my brother, 100% about boxing. I'm thinking about starting a podcast for MMA because I get a lot of people, that want to talk about MMA, but in here we only doing boxing, my brother. But I appreciate you jumping in. Cito, what do you think about 140 division? Why is Richardson Hitchens ducking Matias? Shouldn't Gary Russell run it back with Pollo to unify? I gotta say this, man. I don't think that Richardson Hitchens is ducking Matias. This is what I feel is going on with that. Subriel Matias, after he lost badly to Josh Taylor, his stock has gone like this, has dropped. You know why? Think about this. When Subriel Matias bounced back after that loss, he fought in Puerto Rico with a guy that we never heard of in a small little ballroom, like a small venue. And his second fight back, he fought a good fighter, a decent fighter, also in a small venue, relatively speaking. So Subriel Matias, he's not, fighters right now look at him like he's just trying to climb himself back up. His stock is down. If you think about it, nobody's really talking about Subriel Matias like they were before he lost. Nobody, he's the boogeyman, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's really talking about him. So a guy like Richardson Hitchens, look, he was in Teofimo's press conference, pressing Teofimo. Like, yo, fight me next, fight me next. He been chasing Teofimo Lopez badly. And we know what Teofimo... And look, Teofimo didn't want to fight Subriel Matias. The same deal. So I think that Subriel Matias, he needs to get a big win so his name can start buzzing again and he can get those fights. That's just my personal opinion. Cito, man, that's going to be an entertaining fight. Soviet style versus evolved Mexican style. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, man. And they're both big guys. They both let their hands go. It's going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to play out similar to Bivol versus Beterbiev. 12 rounds of action. We're going to see fireworks. Garden Snake mentality. If Trilogy's next, Benavidez will have to move up to cruiserweight to get a title shot next. You think Benavidez could beat Zurdo? Honestly, I think Benavidez can beat Zurdo. And the reason I say that is because Zurdo, he's good, he's elite, but Benavidez got faster hands. And Benavidez could take a punch. Benavidez could take a punch with the best of them. So I think that Benavidez has faster hands. He definitely has a higher punch output than Zurdo. And based off of that, I'm rocking with Benavidez. Cito says high risk, low reward. Subriel Matias. Subriel Matias, we can say that he's high risk, low reward because right now he's not buzzing. I'm telling you, after he took that loss, his stock went like that. It slid downwards. And a guy's stock has gone down when they go from fighting a title fight with a champion to fighting an opponent that you never heard of in a very small venue. They trying to bring him back up. How many times we don't see a fighter lose his title and go right back into fighting another big name in another title fight or one of the big names in the division? We didn't see that from Matias. He's already fought twice, and both of those fights, the first one was in a very small venue. Most of us didn't see his first fight back. Most of us didn't even know he was fighting. I remember, I saw like something come up on my Facebook or something that Subriel Matias was fighting that very same day. I was like, oh shit, Subriel Matias fighting? What? I didn't even know he was fighting when he first came back. And his second fight, I don't remember, but there was a big card, and Subriel Matias was also fighting in Puerto Rico on another card. I think it was when Bivol and Beterbiev, maybe. That's when he fought that same day in Puerto Rico. And again, it was a smaller venue, and it was an opponent that wasn't a star, a name, you know what I'm saying? Cam J Network. Hearn gave up on Matias quickly after the Paro loss. Oh, I messed up. I said he lost to Josh. He lost to Liam Paro, but he lost badly to Paro. I think he's with Salito Promotion now. You know what? I think he is because I saw Clarissa Shields was over there when he was fighting. Hearns ain't trying to give Matias a fight with Hitchens. Hitchens supposed to fight Cambosos if he win next. That's a good fight. I got Hitchens winning it. But I will say, man, Hitchens, he hasn't looked too good in his last couple of outings. Cito, Cambosos versus Hitchens is nasty work. No way they trying to make that fight. Garden Snake mentality. I didn't even watch Matias fight after Paro. I believe I was watching another card. Yeah, there was another card that same day. But think about it, Garden Snake mentality. How many people have even been talking about Subriel Matias? Samagasha, hello Russian. Salute to my peoples from Russia. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. So Subriel Matias is someone who went from his name buzzing. Everybody was talking about Subriel. And all of a sudden, after he lost to Paro, that's it. Nobody's been talking about him. And I believe that that's the reason why Teofimo and Richardson Hitchens didn't want to fight him. Because they trying to get in there with the names. They trying to keep raising their stock. These guys know when you beat a big name, your stock goes up immediately. Immediately. Cam J Network. Hitchens beat Paro easily. Almost pitched a shutout. Hitchens will beat Cambosos easily, in my opinion. I agree with you. I agree. Gonna put the beats on Cam. Samagasha, American. Trevor. I don't know who's Trevor, my brother. Cito. Subriel won last two by KO. But you're right. No one really knows his last two opponents. Paro made that guy fight ugly. But, hey, hugging Subriel was good tactic. That's facts. That's facts. But Liam Paro, man, he's the type of fighter that he's a tough opponent. It's not like Subriel lost to a bum. I just didn't like how far down they stepped Subriel's competition. Like, they went way, way down for his following two opponents. You went from fighting a guy, you know, who's at the top of his game, an elite level fighter, to fighting a guy that we never heard of in a very small venue. So I think that makes your stock drop because people stop paying attention to you. If Subriel Matias, after Paro, would have went, you know, for a good fighter right away for Cambosos, who's a good fighter, would have went for De Los Santos, would have went for somebody that we're familiar with and we know they can fight, but his stock went down, man. When you pick opponents the way his last two have been, I hope Subriel Matias is able to get in there with a name and his name can start buzzing again. Garden Snake mentality. The second half of Hitchens versus Paro fight looked like Devin Haney versus Cambosos. Facts. Facts. Hitchens started taking over. Ryan Kaplan, well said, bro. Appreciate you, my guy. Now, we have to see who is Subriel Matias going to fight next. Who is he going to fight next? Hopefully, he can get a name in the ring with him and start bringing his stock back up. Because I don't think Teofimo Lopez is scared of him. I don't think Richardson Hitchens is scared of him. You know, once you're like a power puncher who's knocking everybody out and guys outbox you thoroughly, anybody who's a good boxer, they feel like they can whoop your ass. You lose that sense of invincibility. Garden State mentality. Australian fighters are always good for an upset win by struggle capitalizing on the next fight usually. That's facts. That's facts. Australian fighters, the thing about Australian fighters is that a lot of times they're flat-footed. They're not the guys to use that footwork a lot, move a lot. They're kind of flat-footed, and they rather stand there and bang with you. Australian fighters are a bit similar to Mexican fighters. You know, traditional Mexican fighters that are going to stand there and bang with you. Cito, man, the Aussie be shocking the world unexpectedly. I'm going to tell you something, man. The first time an Aussie broke my heart was Costa Azul versus Zab Judah. I actually had money on that fight, and I lost. That broke my heart, my peoples. I thought Zab Judah, you know, at that time, Zab Judah was still undefeated, was in his prime, was doing his thing. And I felt like, you know what? The only thing Costa Azul got is power. He's not going to beat Zab Judah with power alone. That's all he got. But I'm going to tell you something. some fighters, they simply have a style that they're not flashy. They're very straightforward. And that was Costa Tzu. Costa Tzu was a way better fighter than what he looked. Like, if you see him, this guy doesn't look... He was very good, man. He was very sharp. Very, very accurate with his counter punching. Like, when he made you miss, he made you pay dearly. And those fighters who can counter punch accurately, they're always going to be dangerous, man. They're going to be super dangerous. Cito, man, that Aussie be shocking the world unexpectedly. That's facts. Garn Snake mentality. Jeff Horn beating Pacquiao. Campbell beating Teo. Paro beating Matias. They're all shocking wins. But I'm going to say something. I did not feel like Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao. I felt like Manny was robbed in that fight. Jeff Horn did have some good rounds, but I felt like Pac-Man was robbed. Camboso definitely beat Teo. And Paro, he just put a nasty beating on Subriel. Cito, Teo versus Camboso shocked me. That shocked all of us. Cambosos was a huge underdog in that fight. Huge. J-Dub, who wins Crawford versus Spence rematch? Now Crawford. Crawford would absolutely pummel him. There's a reason why Spence opted not to do the rematch. That's it. Spence, I would say Spence is close. I don't want to say he's done right now because you just never know. But he can't beat Terence Crawford. There's too much factors weighing against him. He got no chance to me to beat Terence Crawford. QT, yeah, I was shocked George beat Teo, especially when that first knockdown happened. And let me tell you something about Teofimo versus Cambosos that we should have learned about that fight. And I don't want to be controversial when I say this, and I don't mean to disrespect, but Teofimo's father showed that he's a horrible trainer, at least in the corner. I'm not saying in the gym, but he's horrible in the corner. Yo, there was times that Teofimo was getting outboxed, and this guy was just telling him, go fuck him up. Fuck him up. Bro, what kind of instructions are those? Go fuck him up? That's it? What you mean? I'm trying to, bro. I'm trying. What you mean? So, Teofimo Pops was horrible in the corner that day. Horrible. I felt like you're not doing your job, B. What is you talking about? Go fuck him up. Like, that's it? What instructions are those? And I gotta say, one of the reasons Teofimo lost to Cambosos is because he underestimated him. He thought he was gonna blast him out of there. So those first few rounds, he was going in there trying to counterpunch, trying to catch him with that big shot and just get him out of there. By the 7th round, where he was behind on the cards, he finally started to box. He finally started to use his ring IQ. But it was too late. He was behind on the cards. If y'all remember that fight, those last few rounds, it was Cambosos trying to survive. Teofimo dropped him and was going after him. It was Cambosos because he was already ahead on all the scorecards. He was ahead. So he was able to afford to lose, most of the last rounds because he was so far ahead. But Teofimo lost because he messed up. He went in there trying to blast him out of there. And by the time he realized that he wasn't going to be able to and started to actually box, it was too late. He fell too far behind on the cards. And when you fall like that behind on the cards, you get desperate, and then you try to make it up. He wasn't able to. Garden Snake mentality. I wonder why Eddie Reynoso is training both Teofimo and Ryan at the same time. I mean, I think that Eddie Reynoso, he's been a guy who he's trained a lot of champions. He's worked with a lot of champions. And for that reason, these guys, they want to train with him. They're like, I want him to give me some of that. Cam J Network, Teo is too inconsistent in my opinion, bro. I mean, I wouldn't say that he's inconsistent. I think that he's too emotional. Too emotional. Matter of fact, this guy, Barboza, said that he's straight up P. A kitty cat. Called him that in his face. He said he's too emotional. But like I said, man, with that fight with Cambozas, you out there trying to blast him out of there in 3 rounds. Your pops is over there just telling you to go fuck him up. Like, come on, bro. What kind of instructions are those? Go fuck him up. So I feel like if he would have had a better trainer in his corner, after the first 2 rounds, they would have told him, bro, you're not going to blast this guy out of there. Let's box. Let's start boxing him. Because if Teofimo boxes Cambozas, he make him look bad. Make it look easy. But you went out there trying to knock him out, trying to make it a quick night, and you got your ass beat. Garden Snake mentality. It's crazy. Teodat won Trainer of the Year in 2020. I don't even know how that happened, bro. I guess they gave it to him because of what Teo did. He beat Lomachenko and he beat Richard Comey. He had some real good wins. But yo, Teo's dad, bro, I don't know what he be doing in that corner sometimes. He be giving the crazy instructions. Like you see other trainers being specific. Use that jab. Slip that punch. Yo, step to the side, catch it with the left hook where he does this. Counter punch. He's doing this a lot. Counter punch this. Like you see the elite level trainers being very specific with the instructions that they give their fighters. And then these elite level fighters follow those specific instructions. Tell that be talking about go fuck him up. Beat his ass. What? That's what I'm trying to do, my nigga. What is you talking about? Go beat his ass. I've been trying to beat his ass. I don't know. I don't know how he was trained the other year. Cam J Network. Tail gets up for those guys like Loma and Josh Taylor and plays down to his competition like Cambozas, Claggett, and Sander Martin. Look at that. He took a lot of shots from Sander Martin that he shouldn't have taken. That's what I don't like about Teofimo. That he be like, when he's trying to get you out of there, he be mad irresponsible with his defense, bro. Mad irresponsible. Garden State mentality. Bozianis' instructions to Boots were similar versus Karen in a rematch. Go stop him, man. That's facts. That's facts. But I give Bozy credit because when you see him getting into details and giving like the real instructions, I think he was just frustrated because he knows Boots is going to beat Karen and they just wanted to get him out of there. They really wanted to get him out of there. Cito. Winner of Teo versus Arnold should be next for Subriel, but not until we see Subriel title eliminator fight. At the moment, I don't know who's the option, but I'm going to try to look and see. So many fights to be made at 140. Yo, 140 is a marquee division right now. It's a marquee division. By the way, it looks like Devin Haney is going to be moving up to 147. Devin Haney versus Boots? That's crazy. Garden State mentality. I thought Sander Martin beat Teo and Puello. Yo, Sander Martin versus Teofimo, that was close. And there was a lot of swing rounds that could have went to Sander Martin. That was close. When that last bell went off, I thought that was going to be a draw. Sander Martin versus Puello, that was a close fight. Honestly, I thought Sander Martin edged it out. I thought he edged it out. I actually called that fight live during a stream, and I thought he edged it out. Cito, Haney versus Hitchens is a fight I'm going to be excited because I believe they both going to keep range, but the crowd will force them to scrap. I think that's a good fight. I think that Hitchens is actually going to be the one pressing the action simply because he's on tape saying he don't respect Haney. He don't respect Haney's power. So I think Hitchens is going to be the guy trying to walk him down. Devin Haney's going to be the guy counterpunching. And that's a good fight. That's going to be a chess match that could turn into a fight. QT, Teo needs to unify. He's had the ring belt for a while now. It's overdue. I agree with you 100%. I agree. Teofimo versus Devin Haney. That's a fight I've been wanting to see that fight since they was both at 135. Now, we might not even get it because Devin is already talking about 147. He's talking about that he's struggling to make 140. We might not get Teofimo and Devin Haney unless Devin Haney move up to 147 and they decide on a catch weight because Teofimo look like he's trying to reign at 140. Garden State mentality. Haney Hitchens. Better set an alarm or you fall asleep. Let's see. Let's see. I think that Haney versus Hitchens can turn out to be interesting. They're both been defensive fighters, but I think Richardson Hitchens, he believes that he can, he don't respect Devin Haney's power, and I think he believes he can put hands on him. So I think it could turn into an interesting fight. Cito, I hope Haney is more healthy at 147, better chin and power, because he is fun boxer to watch, and I don't want him to stop boxing because of a loss. I mean, honestly, Devin Haney, he has a lot to prove. And not to me, because he's already accomplished, but after taking such a beating from Ryan Garcia, I believe he wants to prove himself. He wants to show. I got to say something. Devin Haney is going to fight Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez got pop in both hands. He can pop, he can bang. So you have to see. I always tell people this, and this is something that people ignore until they actually see it happen. Yo, a lot of times a fighter can take a nasty beating and their punch resistance can go like that. Drop. Now all of a sudden, any little punch got you wobbly. So I want to see how Devin Haney is going to bounce back from that beating he took from Ryan Garcia. Because yes, the steroid stuff, Devin Haney, they overturned the decision. Devin Haney still undefeated. Good, you're undefeated. But you still took a lot of punishment. You got dropped with some hard punches. So what Devin Haney are we going to get next? He has the skills to outbox Jose Ramirez. But what Devin Haney are we going to get? Is he going to be able you're going to get hit. Because we know Devin Haney's not a knockout puncher. He's not going to go out there and knock Jose Ramirez out. In the course of those 12 rounds, he's going to get hit. What's going to happen when he get hit? With a nice left hook. With a straight right hand right in the kisser. What's going to happen? That's a question mark. We're going to find out. Garden State mentality. Ramirez on the decline, you think? I'm not sure. He is the same guy who was fighting Josh Taylor. I mean, I think he may be on the decline, but, he's only taken 2 losses in his career. And he got that. I believe he still is going to have that hand speed. He's still going to have some pop. So I think, he's going to be a tough fight for Devin Haney. Taking into account the type of loss that Devin Haney took to Ryan Garcia, it was overturned. He's still undefeated. But originally he lost. So the type of beating Devin Haney took to Ryan, coming back to Jose Ramirez, that's a tough opponent. You got to respect Devin Haney. That's why I'm saying Subriel Matias, after losing, he came back to somebody we never heard of to fight in a real small venue. Devin Haney's coming back to fight a guy that can fight. A guy that let his hands go. A guy that's going to try to walk you down and put hands on you. I respect Devin Haney for that. And like I said, he's supposed to outbox him. But what Devin Haney we going to get? How is he going to handle getting hit? We got to wait and see. To me, that's a question mark. Shaggy, Haney going to get KO'd. Jose can punch in combinations more than Ryan, I mean. A little more aggressive, too. That's what I've been saying, man. Jose Ramirez, he can fight. I mean, to be honest, I think Devin Haney can outbox him. Got better footwork, got better defense, and he can win on points. My question mark is, can he handle it when he finally get hit with that power? I want to see it. LB Marshall, salud, papa. The best boxing channel right now, facts. Devin got to show he back or Ryan ended his career. Let's see. Salute, manito. Word up. I appreciate it, my brother, by the way. I mean, Devin Haney it's true. You're 100% right. Devin Haney got to prove himself. He got to show us that he can be the old Devin Haney prior to that ass whooping. Because if he not, let's say in this fight, he was to get knocked out by Ramirez. It's over. It's over. He's going to retire. That's it. It's over. Because now we're going to know, Devin Haney can't take a punch no more. It's going to be over. So I think there's a lot of pressure on Devin Haney and his pops for him not just to win, but to win convincingly. If this is like a split decision or a draw or a fight where it's so close that a lot of people saying Jose Ramirez beat him, that's not going to be good. I know that they want to look impressive, to say, look, we're back and we're going to dominate. I mean, Devin Haney's talking about dominating 147. For you to dominate welterweight, you're going to have to see boots. You're going to have to see boots, bro. LB Marshall, we got to respect Devin for not taking a warm-up fight, can't lie, and hate on Devin. That's real talk. That's what I'm saying. Like, after taking that type of beating from Ryan, he could have easily came back to a tune-up. A year inactive, he could easily came back. And he's going after a killer. Jose Ramirez can fight, man. He took 2 L's in his career, but he lost to good fighters, and he can fight. So we got to see what Devin got. Garden Snake mentality. Ryan might have just been a matchup. Devin fighting him 7 times in amateurs plus sparring. That left hook of Ryan's so explosive. And that's a factor, too, because they know each other. They've been in the ring together. They shared, all those fights in the amateurs. Even though, as professionals, they developed a whole lot since that, but their style of boxing is the same. And Ryan Garcia just had his number. Sometimes, my peoples, a fighter just got your number. If they rematch, Ryan Garcia might actually beat him again. Sometimes a fighter... I'm going to put it to you like this. For those of you who've been watching boxing for a long time, remember Vernon Forrest, rest in peace, versus Shane Mosley? If you haven't seen that fight, my peoples, if you're younger or if you started watching boxing after that, I ask you to please YouTube that fight. Vernon Forrest versus Sugar Shane Mosley. This is the first time Mosley lost a fight. True Blessing 86. What's up, bro? Respect to you and your channel. I like what you do. Who do you think? First of all, salute to you, True Blessings 86. I appreciate you dropping in, my brother. I can't make a prediction yet just because that fight is so good. But my peoples, listen. Vernon Forrest versus Sugar Shane Mosley. When they fought, the first time, Vernon Forrest beat Mosley, beat his ass. Just put the whooping on him. And I thought, maybe he caught him by surprise. The rematch, Sugar Shane's going to put it on him. The rematch was the same thing. Vernon Forrest beat him up again. And nobody, if we look at all time, nobody's ever going to consider Vernon Forrest above Shane Mosley. Vernon Forrest was never a pound-for-pound fighter. But he had Sugar Shane Mosley's number. He had his number. So Ryan Garcia may actually have Devin Haney's number. It could be the case. True Blessings 86. Who would win, Prime Manny or Prime Tank? I'm going with Prime Manny Pacquiao to beat Tank. Cito. De Los Santos versus Henry LeBron would be a good undercard fight for Subriel Matias versus Elvis Rodriguez. Damn, those are 2 real good fights. Real good fights. I got to tell you, Subriel Matias, he needs a good win so that he can start buzzing again, so that he can get on the radar of these fighters that he wants to fight. He has to do it. Subriel Matias versus Elvis Rodriguez, I like that fight. Garden State mentality. Pacquiao, who beat Thurman, beats Tank. I mean, Pacquiao, he's one of the fighters who's the most disrespected by newer boxing fans. Like, if you see Manny Pacquiao and what he's done in his career and the people he fought, the people he beat, like this guy beat undefeated Keith Thurman when he was 40 years old, bro. At 40 years old, you beat the undefeated champion. Manny Pacquiao's a special fighter, man. QT. I wonder if Forrest or Whitaker would be training again if they were still alive. Not Forrest, because remember, if he was alive, he would already be right now in his mid-40s. So he definitely, maybe he could be a trainer. And the same thing with Whitaker, man. Sweepy, he would have been a great trainer. True Blessings. Right, that's facts. Clifton Richards. Where are the American heavyweights? To be honest, I I don't know what happened, man, but ever since the 2000s, the U.S. just hasn't been in it when it comes to the American heavyweights. He just hasn't been. I don't know why. It's hard to really explain it. I think that big men are gravitating also towards other sports, whether it's basketball, whether it's MMA. But for whatever reason, the U.S. hasn't been having that type of deep pool of heavyweight talent. And we see it even in the amateurs. In the amateurs, there's not a lot of American heavyweights that are, winning gold in the Olympics and winning here. Like, you got to remember, back then, Evander Holyfield won a gold medal in the Olympics. Riddick Bowe won a silver medal in the Olympics. George Foreman is an Olympic gold medalist. So I don't know why, but there was a big drop-off when it comes to heavyweights. And then if you look at Deontay Wilder, who was a heavyweight for a champion for a long time, he didn't really, he wasn't really a talented guy like that. He was more of a guy that was a very hard puncher, very tall guy with great reach, and he could just knock people out. But he wasn't really talented like that. Cito, we got Torres for USA on the rise. Richard Torres might be the one for U.S. heavyweight boxing. I think he is. He is. They're supporting him. They're pushing him. And I think Torres is going to be that guy. Now, Torres, garden snake mentality. Torres doesn't look that good, but wish him the best. To be honest, I think that Torres, sometimes he look a little bit sloppy. He's a very hard puncher. Very good counter puncher, too. But I think he be looking sloppy at times. Like the way he kind of is wailing with his wide looping punches, I don't like that. When you find a sharp guy, that's not going to work. Those looping punches that he throws, I don't like that. Lord Freezer, good morning, OG. What's the deal, my brother? Boom. Garden snake mentality. Jared Anderson got exposed badly. I'm going to tell you something, my brother. When it comes to Jared Anderson, I stopped messing with him a few years ago when he said, look, I'm making money. I don't need a title. I don't care about a title. I said to myself, this guy, he's not going to get too far. He don't got the discipline. You ain't even making millions of dollars like that. And you already talking about you got money and you don't care about titles. That's it. He's not cut from that cloth. He's a guy who's talented. He's very talented. But he's not going to, I don't see him as somebody who's going to put in the work to get to the top. I don't see it. He got to convince me. Cito, I hear you. He's young. He's got room to develop. It was supposed to be my local Ohio brother, Jared Anderson, but he does not have the heart for boxing. We all see that dude. He doesn't want to box any. Like if you're a fighter and you in there for the money, you're not gonna go all the way. You gotta be in there for the love of the sport. You gotta be one of those guys who wanna be the best, who wanna be the greatest. Nothing about Jared Anderson telling me that he wants that he's about that life. So, I don't know if he's gonna change his mindset, but even when he lost, what happened when he lost? When he got pummeled by Bacoli. Yo, man, listen, I'm good. I'm gonna chill with my family, and he took that loss like, listen, man, the great fighters, they don't take a loss like that. They don't take a loss like that. You take a loss like that when you don't give a damn. Whatever, I'm still making big money. My check is in the bank. I'm good. I'm Gucci. Nah, I don't want to hear that from a fighter. So Jared Anderson has the talent to get to the top, doesn't have the discipline, or just doesn't want it like that. You got to want it. He don't want it like that. Guru Tube, Usyk is hard to figure out. Usyk is a great fighter. You see, these guys that we're talking about, they have Olympic pedigree. They have amateur pedigree. Guys like that, when they turn pro and when they become champions, they hard to beat. Lord Freezer, true, and Anderson never called out Fury again. See? Anderson, he seems to just be about his money, not about wanting to be the best. And when you got a guy who ain't even making millions of dollars talking about, yeah, we got money already, I don't care about titles, bro, you haven't even made $1 million for a fight. and you're already talking about you made money. So, I'm, and Jared Anderson, he was one of my guys. Like, yeah, this guy's going far. But when I saw his attitude, his demeanor, I was like, nah, man, he can't hang with the big boys. He's not gonna get to that level. Lord Freezer, damn, that's crazy. Usyk started at cruiserweight, moved up and beat all the top heavyweights and became undisputed. Usyk is a special fighter, going to the Hall of Fame. First ballot Hall of Famer. QT, man, I would love to see Bivol and Usyk meet at cruiserweight. Honestly, I don't think that's gonna happen simply because Usyk is never gonna go back down. He's already, once you accomplish as much as he has as a heavyweight, I don't think we'll ever see him go back down. So, and I don't see Bivol moving up to heavyweight. Clifton Richards, Usyk is a ringer, 300 amateur fights. That's what I be telling people. That's why, my peoples, when people say, oh, for example, Lomachenko, they try to knock him. He don't even have 30 wins as a professional. To me, that's a horrible argument because it's not about the amount of wins you have as a professional. We have to look at your career as a whole. This guy's considered one of the best amateur boxers of all time, multiple Olympic gold medals, and when he turned professional, he went straight to work. Lomachenko has never faced an opponent with a losing record. So you got to remember, fighters that turn pro young, they got 10, 15, even 20 fights where they fighting the janitor, the school teacher, the McDonald's burger flipper, where they fighting literally nobodies for years until they step up. All of those fights, Lomachenko don't got those. He went straight to work right away. Great fighter. All these guys from Europe who spend years in the amateurs, who fight 100 fights, 200 fights, 300 fights, they end up turning pro later in their late 20s, even 30s. But you see what they're able to accomplish as professionals. Come on now. Guru Tube, Clifton, he's a gym rat. He's there now. Clifton Richards, Beterbiev. Listen, man, Beterbiev is another guy who had an amazing amateur career. And you can see it, That's why I tell people, you have to look at a fighter's pedigree, my people. When they have that pedigree, they're just different. They just special. When you see a fighter has that pedigree and he won a bunch of fights as an Olympian, they different, my peoples. They different. Garden snake mentality. The international fighters are more prepared when they turn pro. Doesn't seem Americans prioritize amateurs, I guess because they want the money. So I could give you a little bit of insight on that. I actually worked with my city's commission, with the boxing commission. I worked with them all of last year. And I went to a lot of amateur boxing tournaments and all that good stuff. And here's what I realized about amateur boxing. When they held international tournaments here in Dominican Republic, the guys that came from Cuba, 28 years old, 30 years old. The guys that came from Russia, 30 years old, 32 years old. The guys that came from Europe in their late 20s and early 30s. The Americans that came, 19 years old, 20 years old. That's why the U.S., you see that they're not having a lot of success as far as going to the Olympics. If you think about back in the day, the U.S. used to win 5 gold medals in boxing, 6 gold medals in boxing. Now, I think a matter of fact, the U.S. got 1 bronze medal in this last Olympics in boxing. 1 bronze medal. The Dominican Republic got 2 bronze medals in amateur boxing. Think about that. A little ass third world country, the whole Dominican Republic fits inside of New York State. This whole country fits inside of New York State alone. And it got more medals in boxing than the U.S. in the Olympics. Why? Because amateur boxers in the U.S., they turn pro early because they want to make some money. They want to make money. So if you're elite level, if you're really skilled, you turn pro. But guess what? In Russia, in Cuba, in other places in Europe, the guys that are elite level, yo, those countries pay them to stay on as amateurs. They pay them. Why? Because they know if you stay on as an amateur 3, 4, 5, 6 years more, we're going to be able to win on the international stage. That's why when you look at the Olympics, I remember people, the Lomachenko haters, who say, nah, Lomachenko beating up little kids in the Olympics. Yo, people don't even realize that most of the people Lomachenko fought in the Olympics was his age or older. His last Olympic gold medal, he beat a guy that was older than him to get that. People don't even understand that. Because in the U.S., people think all over the world it's a bunch of little kids fighting on international stage. And it's actually not like that. It's not. The guys fighting on the international stage, the Europeans, the Asians, yo, these dudes are basically professionals that are staying on as amateurs. These dudes are sparring with professionals. They training with professional trainers and fighters. So that's what it's all about, my peoples. In the amateurs, we don't see a lot of success from the American team because they turning pro young. So you're bringing in young kids to face seasoned amateurs that's been doing it for years. Garden State mentality. Mark Breland was a great American amateur. That's facts. That's facts. And you know what? Mark Breland, he should be in a lot of corners. He should be a very demanded trainer that everybody want to rock with him. But Deontay Wilder did him dirty. Talking about, nah, he poisoned the water and he did this and that. Like, that was crazy. Wilder did that man dirty. Cito, it was a local from Turkey area, if I'm not mistaken. My peoples, I'm trying to tell you, amateur fighters from Europe, that's crazy, man. It be grown men who's basically professionals that stay on as amateurs. So then you take a kid 19 years old from the U.S. to compete over there, they get their ass whooped. Because you haven't even been developed yet. A lot of American fighters, they get developed when they turn pro. They turn pro, that's why they got them fighting the pizza delivery guy. Because they still developing you. And that's why Europeans turn pro and 3 fights later, they're already fighting for a title. Because you got developed in the amateurs. By the time you went pro, you was fully developed. Americans turn pro at 18 years old, 19 years old. You're a teenager. You're a teenager. Look at Kermel Moulton. And I am a believer in Kermel Moulton. He a special fighter. He's going to do special things. But he turned pro at 17 years old, my people. How can we expect him to go after a title shot when he just turned 18 the other day? We got to let him develop. We got to let him develop for 2-3 years. But if he would have stayed on as an amateur, he would still be an amateur today. He would be an amateur till like 24. If he was in Europe, he would be an amateur till 24, winning titles all over the world. And by the time he's 25, 26, and he turned pro, he's already fully developed. Garden Snake mentality. Kermel's so short, I think he barely 5 foot tall. He's a little bit over 5 feet tall. But you got to remember, Manny Pacquiao was super short too. And we've seen what he was able to accomplish. So I think when you're short, you got to make up for it with ring IQ and boxing skills. That's how you got to make up for it. And then even if we look at it at a higher scale, Mike Tyson, for the heavyweight division, was shorter. Mike Tyson was shorter than 99% of the opponents he faced. All them guys was a lot bigger than him. So I think if you're short in stature, you got to make up for it with your boxing skills. You got to have that defense. You got to have that punching. You definitely got to have punching power to offset the height and reach advantages that you're always gonna face. William Allen. David finna put the beats on old boy. You think he gonna put the beats on Bivol? We gotta see it, man. You gotta see it. That's facts, Garden State mentality. You gotta be able to get under that jab. Step in there and bang with him. But Carmel Moulton is such a special fighter that I think even when he's gonna have to face a lot of guys who have height and reach advantage on him, I think he's still gonna be able to do special things. By the way, Naoya Inoue is young enough. I think he's 29 or 30. Naoya Inoue is young enough to where we could actually see Naoya Inoue versus Carmel Moulton in 5 years. As Naoya Inoue, because remember, Inoue is the type of guy, he one of those special fighters that he's going to be still fighting peak condition in his mid-30s. So we can actually see a Naoya Inoue in his mid-30s versus a Carmel Moulton that started to hit his prime. And you see, they're close to the same size. That would be a heck of a fight. William Allen. Garden, is that Diddy and Kobe? I didn't get the reference. Guru 2. Right now, Usyk might be one of the smaller guys in the heavyweight division. There you go. You see, that's a great example. Alexander Usyk is a small dude. He looked very small compared to Fury. Yep, he put the beats on him. So I think, guys, when they're shorter, they just got to be very, very good boxers, and they can still, be at the top of the game, be at the top of the division. That's how I see it. So I could tell you right now, Carmel Moulton, I'm expecting him to do a lot of special things. And Zaquin Moses, Zabob, Shakur Stevenson's cousin, you know that him and Carmel Moulton, they fought. And he was the last guy to beat Carmel Moulton in the amateurs. I think they might end up, meeting each other in the pros. And that will be a heck of a fight. But we're talking about years down the line. They both just got to keep winning. They're very young. They got to keep doing what they're doing. And eventually, they'll meet up. Garden State mentality. I think Carmel is part Filipino. I'm not sure because his brother has that look. And I think that is his mom that I've seen around him, who she does look like she's Asian. I'm not sure if it's Filipino or what. But, for whatever reason, I've never seen anything, with Carmel holding that flag from that country or anything like that. But I think he may be. I just haven't really heard them address that at all. Garden State mentality. Usyk is cut from that Holyfield cloth. Man, what a fantasy matchup that would have been. Oh, man, Evander Holyfield, Alexander Usyk. Damn, both in their prime, too. Evander Holyfield, I'll tell you right now, man, he was one of my special fighters to watch, man. Evander Holyfield, he was just special to watch. But again, man, with Carmel Moulton, I just don't know. I've never heard them actually say that he's half Filipino. I just seen, how his brother look. His brother has that look like he could be mixed with Asian. And then there's a woman that I've seen with them that I'm not sure if that's his mom. Or I'm not sure if that's just his little brother's mom. But she looked like she's Asian. I don't want to say Filipino because I'm not sure. But she looked like she's, from somewhere in Asia. So, I don't know. I think maybe sometimes people don't talk about those personal things because if you recall, we didn't know that Shakur was half Puerto Rican until he had already been professional for a bunch of years. I never knew that he was half Puerto Rican when he was an amateur. I never knew that he was half Puerto Rican when he first started, when he first turned pro. We found that way down the line. But we know it played out like that because he didn't grow up with his pops. He didn't grow up in Puerto Rico. He never even visited Puerto Rico. So eventually they decided to let it be known publicly. So when it comes to Carmel, he ain't grow up in no Philippine if that's the case. So it could be a situation similar to Shakur where he doesn't identify with that culture because he maybe never even been there. I don't know, but for whatever reason, and that's a personal thing, maybe they just chose not to address it. You never know. A lot of American fans thought Shakur was doing it for clout. Do you think Abdullah Mason has a higher ceiling than Carmel? Ooh. Ooh, that's a tough question you asking me, my brother. Listen, Abdullah Mason is the truth. Carmel Moulton is the truth. Who has the higher ceiling? It's real hard to say, my brother. It's real hard to say because I think that they are both very, very special fighters. The thing is that Abdullah Mason is tall. So he's going to have, and we've seen it in a lot of his fight, he's had the height and reach advantage. And we've seen, experts who say when you put a great short fighter versus a great tall fighter, most of the time, the great tall fighter is going to win. But that's most of the time, not always. Because Sugar Ray Leonard put the beats on Tommy Hearns, and he was the shorter guy. We've seen the shorter guy win a lot too. But for the most part, if they're both great, the taller guy's going to win. That's what's happened most of the time. John Parham, what's the deal, my brother? Good to have you. Says, I think Carmel has the higher ceiling. Yo, Carmel, he a special fighter, my people. That's what I be saying. And you got Usyk by decision. Garden State mentality. It will be easier for Abdullah to translate through the weight classes, I think. I mean, Abdullah Mason is going to be able to go to higher weight class than Carmel. I think that Carmel may cap off at 135. Maybe 140. Maybe 140. But I don't see Carmel going all the way up to welterweight. Abdullah Mason can't go all the way up to welterweight. I think eventually he'll go that far up. John Parham, Mason needs to better his defense, but he's a dog for sure. I mean, I think Abdullah Mason got some very good defense. I think that sometimes he get irresponsible. I think Abdullah sometimes get hits with punches that he shouldn't. But I think he's a very young fighter, still in a developmental process. And, I think he's going to do a lot of special things. John Parham, 135, maybe 140, but best day at 135. I don't see Carmel at the highest 140. At the highest. I don't see him going above that. But I do think 135 will be ideal because he's already going to be at a height and reach disadvantage. But at 140 is different because now you have to overcome height, reach, and power. You got to remember, when you're a power puncher, you're going to move up and you're going to get to a weight class where you're not just going to blast guys out of there, where you're not going to be able to hurt guys like that anymore. You're going to have to outbox them. And it's tough to outbox guys for 12 rounds when they're sharp and bigger and taller than you. That's tough. Look what Dmitry Bivol did to Canelo. What Dmitry Bivol did to Canelo was a lot based on height and reach advantage. He was able to offset everything Canelo had with that long-ass jab. Pop, pop, pop. So, when you're at a height and reach disadvantage, it's tough to move up in weight. And now fight guys that can handle your power. Garden State mentality. It's nice to find fellow boxing fans. It's become such a nice niche sport where I'm from. I feel you, my brother. That's a fact. Especially people who really enjoy and watch the sport of boxing and respect what they're watching. Like me, when somebody loses, I don't think that they're a bum or a hype job or none of that because they lost. Anybody can lose in the sport of boxing. William P., what's up, champ? What's the deal, my brother? Good to have you on. So I do got to say, my peoples, because we digress. Right now, everyone who's here, Benavidez or Dmitry Bivol. Garden State, I knew you was from New Jersey just because I don't know why I associated Garden Snake to Garden State. I don't know why, but I felt like you was from New Jersey. But my people's Dmitry Bivol, Arthur Beterbiev. Talk to me, my peoples. Who y'all got winning that fight? Dmitry Bivol, Arthur my bad. Dmitry Bivol, David Benavidez. My bad, y'all. Dmitry Bivol versus the Mexican Monster. We might get that fight in the summertime. Who y'all got? John Parham, okay. Y'all got a nice kid in New Jersey on the rise. 5-0. 4 KOs, I believe. William P. got Bivol beating the Mexican Monster. Cito got Bivol as well. Bivol, you know, he looked very impressive in his last fight. So I feel you, my peoples. But remember, David Benavidez beat David Morrell. Pummeled him. But let's remember, David Morrell did give him some real good rounds in the beginning. Guard snake mentality. Benavidez, I think his pressure, hand-speed combination will get the UD or maybe late stoppage. Imagine if Benavidez was the first person to stop Bivol. That would be crazy. Cito, Bivol improved over one fight. He figured Beterbiev out. That's a fact. He made the right adjustments. If you remember his first fight, he came out with his face looking like a tomato, a ripe tomato, super red. And in his second fight, he didn't have that much damage. So he made the right adjustments and made it happen. Cito, David Morrell ain't fight much competition. I mean, I still believe that David Morrell, you know, that guy who has that pedigree, you know, that Cuban style, elite level fighter. So even without him having that type of resume, I think he's still a great win for Benavidez. So listen, my peoples, I'm about to drop off. This live is about to end, but before I end, I want to give a shout out to John Parham, William P., Cito, Guard snake mentality. You know, everyone who came through to show me love, to talk boxing. I appreciate all of you, my peoples. That's real talk. I always want to give love to those who come through for me. Everybody who hit that like button, everybody who subscribed to the channel. Y'all already know what it is, my peoples. Tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be back on. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to do what we do. So again, my peoples, one love for everybody who come through. And we're going to enjoy the show, my peoples. We're going to talk about... Oh, by the way, I want y'all to remember, for these fights that are coming up, I'm going to be calling them. Trust me, y'all been back and forth over here with me, but y'all never see me calling a fight. Once you see me calling a fight, you're going to find them TV people, they be boring. You're going to be like, oh, man, them dudes is boring. I come from Germany. Yo, from Germany, what's the deal, my brother? Appreciate you dropping in, man. People from Germany, people from Australia, from different parts of the world, man. I always like it when people come through and show love. We a big family right here. Box Center this is international, my peoples. But I'm gonna be calling the fights, and trust me, you don't want to miss. I'm gonna go live. We could all watch the fight together. In between rounds, we could trash talk, give our opinions. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be on, my people. It's gonna be on. Abdul Wahid Sultan from Libya. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to everybody in Libya. Appreciate you dropping in, my brother. So y'all already know, man. I'm about to get the hell out of here. Let's all get the hell out of here. Hit that like, subscribe. We're going to get together later tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to talk boxing. We're going to do what we do, my peoples. Peace. Salute to everybody. This is Jay Smith. This is Box Center. Your favorite boxers. Favorite boxing show. Yo, one love to everybody, my peoples. See y'all later tonight. Peace out, y'all.